Honestly, it's just kind of like one step at a time. I had that kind of flexibility. I was doing something that I enjoyed. I was making good money from it. It's been a real mix of people along the way. There's some amazing things about it, but there's some things about it that are really tough as well. And I feel that that's something that's not really talked about enough.
Welcome to today's episode of I'm Fine But. I am joined today by the lovely Helen. Now, Helen is the founder of Tots Play, and she's also the founder of the Happy Franchisor. Helen, welcome to today's show.
Hi, Rose. Lovely to be with you.
So, Helen, tell our listeners, if they've never heard of you before, what is it you do and who you provide it for?
Okay, I'm the founder of Tots Play. So we are a baby and toddler developmental play program, and we run classes for from newborn up to 4 or 5. So I started that in 2009. So we're just coming up to 17 years. So which is quite a long time. And yeah, after a couple of years of running it myself, the franchise, and now we currently have around 40 franchisees across the UK delivering our programs to lots and lots of lovely families.
Fantastic. So take me back then to when it was just you running Tots Play and you had this concept going. What was then the next steps that you decided, actually, I'm going to scale this into a bigger business?
So there was really two reasons why I decided to franchise. So one of them was there's only so much you can do yourself. So I'd sort of grown my own classes. And, well, I can only do so many. I didn't really want to take on staff. That wasn't something I wanted to do. And from a lot of conversations that I was having with parents in my classes, I realized that what I had found in terms of creating a business that really worked for me and my family, I had that kind of flexibility. I was doing something that I enjoyed. I was making good money from it. I'm like, there's other people that want this as well. And maybe I could use my experience to help support other people to also kind of have that sort of lifestyle, if you like. And that's really was the core of it. So, I wanted to be able to expand the program, but I also wanted to help and support other women, especially, to be able to create something for themselves.
How did you find that process, that initial sort of going from being an independent one location business to then growing it out? How did you find that whole transition?
Honestly, it's just kind of like one step at a time. I didn't know what I didn't know. I think when I look back now, I was pretty clueless, which is okay. It kind of worked out. One step at a time, I found a lady quite local to me, and do you want to give this a go with me? So I didn't have this whole big master plan. I was just like, I wonder if this could work for somebody else or if it's just me. And that was my first step, actually, to sort of trial it and see how it worked. So I got that one lady on board, and then I built everything around that, and then started to grow from there. Honestly, just one step at a time.
I think you're a very similar journey that we've had. I mean, we've only been franchising now for 5 years, and ours was exactly the same story, and the fact that I just needed someone to cover my maternity leave. And you've got to trial it to see whether it works. So you started out with this one location and she was successful. Then what was the process after that? How did you find bringing more franchisees on board?
So quite slow to begin with, honestly. I had somebody else that was still quite local to me who joined, and then I had people that kind of came on board from couple of different parts of the country. So sort of one at a time to begin with, probably for the first kind of couple of years. And then it just started to build from there.
Have you found that it requires a certain personality to teach your classes? Have you found that the success of it is reliant on the person that's delivering it?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you've got to have a strong program and a strong training to give them the best chance. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's been such an interesting journey for me. We've had a lot of franchisees over the years, especially in this kind of sector. People do kind of come and go because for some people it suits them for a season of their life and then they move on. Some people come and they realize that what they thought was going to be a really simple, nice little running classes job, when it's actually running a business, wasn't quite the right thing for them. And we've got some people that have been with me since practically the beginning. So it's been a real mix of people along the way. So you do kind of get a sense for who it's going to be a fit for and who it isn't, but that takes time. It's not it's not an exact science. And there's definitely people where I've thought, yes, you'll be amazing. And they haven't performed in the way that I thought they would. And others where when I've gone, I'm not sure, but do you know what? I'm going to give you a go, and who've absolutely flown. So it's really tricky. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges as a franchisor, because people will tell you what they think you want to hear, and they're going to say, yes, I'll do this. And yes, and then sometimes that doesn't always pan out or follow through, or sometimes life changes and circumstances change. So for me, it's always been about like trying to see that potential in somebody, but also be realistic about what's likely to be the case. What they're actually going to need, and are the circumstances right? Is the personality, but also just that drive and belief in what they're doing. I think the people that have been most successful with us are the ones that have come in and kind of gone, yeah, I absolutely know I'm going to do this. I've got like no doubts, no worries. I'm just going to go for it. But at the same time, what I love as a franchisor is those people who come in and kind of go, I'm not sure, but I really want to try, and I really want that.
Our paths crossed when I came to an event that you were running as the Happy Franchisor. Now, tell me a little bit about where this initiative came from. Why did you decide to develop this program for franchisors?
So I've obviously been a franchisor for quite a few years now, and it's definitely not without its ups and downs. There's some amazing things about it, but there's some things about it that are really tough as well. And I feel that that's something that's not really talked about enough. A lot of people, when they're being introduced to franchising, a lot of the emphasis is on, sharing your business model, which obviously is a great thing to do, and to scale and to grow your income. All of that, of course, is a big part of it. But I think the thing that is talked about less is the role of the franchisor themselves, and everything that entails, because there's a lot of different parts to it, and it's a very different role than running the business by yourself. So, as a business owner, you kind of go, yeah, I know what it takes to run my business by myself. But when you start to franchise, suddenly you become responsible in a way for other people as well, and their livelihoods to an extent, because they have invested in you and in your brand. And so you start to take on this feeling of like, well, they've got to do well. It's got to work for them. Otherwise, I'm doing something wrong, or I've chosen the wrong person. And it's really easy to start to internalize that, and actually to really take on more responsibility than you should as a franchisor, because at the end of the day, those people are business owners themselves, and they have to take their own responsibility for that. But the franchise dynamic is quite a tricky one, because they're not your employees. So you can't just kind of tell them what to do. Yes, you can make sure, you need to make sure that they're following your brand standards and all of those sorts of things. So there is some leeway with it there. But in terms of, you can't go and say, but you haven't done your marketing today, and you haven't done this, and I need that by now. And, it's not that. It's a very different relationship, a different dynamic. So you're relying on them doing what they say they're going to do, and actually following the program and putting the work in to get the result. And you can't control that. So when that, maybe they're not doing as well as they would like, or you would like, or they're just having a tricky time personally, which absolutely happens. It's not just a case of what's happening in the business is affecting them. They've got lives around that as well. And there's a lot that goes on in terms of what's happening in their life, affecting their business, and all sorts of things. So there's lots of different things at play that mean that sometimes you will take it on yourself to kind of go, but they should be doing better. Why aren't they? When it's not actually down to you at all. It has to be down to them. But you can't, you can influence, but you can't control that outcome. And that can be quite difficult to manage sometimes. So that there's a lot of different elements to it that you probably don't really think about when you come into it. Lots of different personalities to manage. People need different things. So you think, oh yeah, I've got everything together that they could possibly need. And then somebody comes along and goes, but I need it this way, or I don't understand that bit. And so you're constantly tweaking and changing and trying to keep everybody happy. And that's quite a lot.
I think if you are watching this rather than listening, you've probably just seen me like vigorously nod for the last 5 minutes while you've been talking, because everything that you've said very much resonates with how I felt, especially before I became part of your network as well, because you do feel quite lonely as a franchisor. and having what you perceive as the responsibility of other people, even if you are throwing everything that you possibly can, because you know how to run your business, you know how to build that business up and scale it and make sure that it's really successful in that area. But actually getting somebody else to do it, you almost become a motivator and a teacher, a trainer. You become every single role that you didn't necessarily perceive that you were going to have to do. And I know for me, I got to a really low point with it where I actually got an offer for someone to buy the whole brand. And I really did sit down and consider it, because the impact it was having on me personally was so great. And I actually took it on myself to have some coaching with the Everyday Confidence coach who has been on the podcast recently. And she said something that really resonated with me. And she said, just imagine, she said, you're sat in your house and they're sat in their house, and you've got a shared garden at the front, and there's a quite clear divide, and you are out there and you're mowing your lawn and you're cutting back the weeds and you're keeping on top of everything and you're putting down the fertilizer for the next season and you're putting everything in place, and you're wanting your neighbor to do exactly the same. So you're throwing everything across for them to use, but they're sat there looking at it going, well, I'm not doing it. You should be doing it. I want mine to look like yours, but actually I don't really want to do that. And this analogy really stuck with me of going, okay, I can only do what I can do to keep my part lovely. And I'm going to throw everything across to keep their part lovely, but it's up to them to pick up the tools to do that. And I think that mindset shift was a real light bulb moment for me to go, actually, I can only control me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think as franchisors, we see everybody else displaying their brand on social media and all these other places, and it looks like everybody else's gardens are beautiful. And that's, one of the reasons why I really wanted to start the Happier Franchisor, and particularly the community part of it that is lovely to have you as part of, because actually just understanding that that's kind of the case for everybody. And, we can all control our bit, but we can't control everybody else's part, and just normalizing that a little bit, and just sort of having some of those conversations, hopefully, just makes that role feel a little bit lighter, because, when you feel more supported yourself as the franchisor, then, you've got a little bit more capacity to support everybody else in your role. And so that's, that's a big part of where this whole thing came from, because, I knew I was going through these challenges, and having sort of private conversations with people, I knew it wasn't just me, even though often it felt like it was just me. And I'm like, if I'm feeling like this, other people are feeling like this, and let's bring us together to actually, as I say, first of all, go, this is normal and this is how it is, because I think just that bit of reassurance is a step in the right direction. And then, hopefully going forward, to provide some more tools and ideas and support systems to support the franchisor. So the person who's actually at the center of everything, you're kind of there holding everything, juggling everything, but there's very little support for you individually. You said that you went out and got, support yourself. A lot of us just don't do that. We just kind of think, right, let's just power through. There must be just something I'm missing. Let me just learn something else. You take it more and more on yourself and kind of go, well, what's wrong with me? What am I missing? Why is this not feeling as positive as I think it should? Because it's such a positive thing to do. It can have such a positive impact on so many people. So, it's not taking any of that away, but actually having somewhere just that's for you as that person that's running everything else, as the leader of your business. I found that just wasn't really that available, certainly for franchisors, maybe more at an early stage of their journey, or however far through, really. There's a lot of, you go to kind of these big events and everyone's all like, yeah, it's wonderful, and yeah, I took on these franchisees and things. And it's lovely to have those conversations and be in those spaces, but you can kind of go away from them feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't it feeling as smooth and easy for me as everybody else seems to think it is, when in actual fact, that's not always the case. And actually just talking about it can be the first step to feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, because as the franchisor, you love your brand. Your brand is the most important thing to you. It's your baby. But then every individual franchisee should be the most passionate about their own business as well. And that really shows, and especially when you get those franchisees that run with it. Like, I don't know about you, but that makes me so happy. We do a social value calculator every 3 years. So we learn about the impact that it's having in the community. And we do a lot of community events, so a lot of initiatives to get more women supported after they've had a baby. And just to hear that feedback as a franchisor, you can sit there and go, this is the best thing ever. This is what I wanted. But then there is almost that balance. And we do tend to focus on the negative, don't we, over the positive impact that actually these businesses that we've built are actually creating income for other people and then supporting families in the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because, we're in sort of a similar field in terms of supporting parents and babies and young children. I know, you go a little bit wider, but I always feel it's sort of a similar analogy. So one of the things that's really important to us at Tots Play is supporting the parents first to be able to support the child, because we know when they're happier, more confident, feeling more supported, they're in a much better place to be able to support their child. If they're, stressed and overwhelmed and feeling judged, it's really hard to have that same experience with them. So, we really want them to support them to have like a really positive experience of that time in their lives. And it's kind of really similar for the franchisor, if you like. So it's like, well, when the franchisor is happier and feels more supported and things, then that's going to flow down to the franchisees, and it's going to flow down to all the people that they support and work with in their communities. So it's kind of like starting at the top to have that wider effect and that wider impact, if you like. And I guess that's a lot of where I've been coming from with this. So it's like, it's not pretending that everything has to be amazing or fabulous, but it's like, actually, if you just felt a little bit more supported, a little better, then that little bit has a big impact sort of flowing down to everybody else.
Yeah. And if somebody is listening or watching and they are considering starting up a business, it is asking yourself those questions of, I believe that I can do this? Do I have the motivation to do this? What will I do if I do hit hard times? Because in all honesty, it's that fight or flight reflex. And like I said, I got to that point where someone said, we could buy this. And I almost went, yeah, go on, then just take it. Because it does become a lot. And I think it's actually asking yourself what would you do in those situations? And would you reach out for help? Like, you've got this really great support, but actually finding the support that you need in order to keep yourself mentally prepared for whatever is going to come next.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that really strong why, really knowing why you're doing it, what why you're doing it for you and why you're doing it for others as well. So what's important about it for you? So for a business like ours, then, we have a lot of parents who become franchisees and want to start the business because they want to have that flexibility, that time with their own children. They want to do something that lights them up and feels rewarding to them, so that they're not going home after kind of a working day feeling completely drained and like they've got nothing left for their own family. So when you've kind of got those really strong whys underneath, then that's what keeps you going on those hard days, because you go, yeah, this doesn't feel great just now, but this is why I'm doing it. So let's just go another day and tomorrow will be better. It's not, I don't think it's possible to avoid sort of those dips, but it's finding ways to get yourself out of them more quickly. So it's not avoiding them completely, but it's like you don't have to stay there, and getting support is one really crucial way of doing that. It's one of the great things about joining a franchise network, actually, because you've got that kind of built-in support network around you. So it's not just you. You've got other people that get it and have been in that situation as well. And I guess similar with the happier franchisor, it's like, okay, now the people in the community have got a little bit of that support network around them to kind of go, yeah, this has happened today, or, it's sharing those wins and those lows as well. And I love that. I love when our franchisees do that. I love when the franchisors do that as well, because it's lovely to kind of it's not just you sitting alone kind of going, oh, I had a great day today, I've got no one to tell and celebrate with me. Or actually, this has happened. It's not, I'm not feeling great about it. and you can get other people to pick you up. And I think that's really helpful in terms of, say, not staying in that place and letting you keep moving forward and keep having the impact that you want to have.
Yeah. And I started out my first business when I was 17. And I do talk about it a lot that I'm totally unemployable. Like I would not be able to work for anybody else. And I remember when it was just me, I used to get to Christmas time and everyone was having their Christmas parties and me being like, oh, just go buy a bottle of wine and like, woohoo, it's Christmas. Yay, go me. I hit what I wanted to hit. So I think being part of that network is so empowering. And I was chatting to one of our franchisees last week and she said, I love our Facebook group. We call it our Baby Beats Teacher Family Group. And she said, I love it. She's like, I can ask questions. We've got things like, what goals are you doing next week? What do you want to hit? Let's keep accountable. And it's having that network of other people, especially for me, having other women that are going through it, that are maybe a few months ahead of you or a little bit of a step ahead, that are there to support you and boost you up. Or if you've got a question to ask, I remember when I was running a business on my own and I would literally Google everything. I need a policy for this, or how do I do this, or can I use paid for this? And actually just having somebody to go, has anybody done this before? What do I need to do? And just having that support system in place, it's so vital for having a positive experience in building a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the thing that does make the difference and that you don't realize you've been missing until you have it.
So for you, if there is somebody that's listening and they're thinking, actually, I've got this really great business, it's working really well for me, I'm considering either licensing or scaling through franchising. Have you got any advice that you would give to them?
I'd really think about what you want from doing it, because as soon as you bring other people on, your role changes completely. And certainly in the initial stages, you're going to be doing both. So you're basically giving yourself a second job. So it's being prepared for that and making space for it as well. I think a lot of people just try and go, okay, well, yeah, I could just keep doing everything that I've been doing before and running my business exactly as I could, and then I'll just do this bit on the side. And they don't realize how much of their time, effort, energy, headspace that is going to take up. So it's just going and being prepared for that, and and that there will be challenges along the way, that there will be things that you don't know yet, to embrace it all, really, to, learn as much as you can and find the path that's right for you. And I think this is another thing that I'm really kind of keen to get the message out, is that it's not a one size fits all. I think especially when you look into things like, should I franchise my business? There's kind of this like, oh, well, this is how you do it and this is how you should run it and this is how you should set it up. But actually think about what works for you. How do you actually want to run your business? How do you want to have it set up? Really think about what you want, not what you're being told you should do.
Yeah.
Because at some point there's going to become a conflict there. And you go, oh, well, I did this because I was told that this is the way you to do it. Now, there's lots of things in terms of, legal compliance and things that, yes, you want to take that advice on board. But actually, before you even get to that stage, think about what it is you want to offer and why, what you want the people that are working with you to get from it, and build your business around that.
That's such good advice. We definitely made waves when we introduced our zero franchise fee, because that was something that I feel really passionate about, because a lot of women we were interviewing to come on board with us, and they were so brilliant and they were so passionate and they wanted to build a flexible business that worked with their children, and they wanted to have something for themselves. But actually the barrier to coming on board is that initial investment. And there has to be some investment. I do believe that you're not just putting your time in, you've got to put something behind that. But actually having a zero franchise fee for us meant that we could actually empower more women to access business that, yes, maybe they didn't have the time or the knowledge to go, I'm going to build something completely from scratch. I need to have my policies in place. I need to have my training in place. I actually don't know where to start, and I actually want somebody to guide me through it. So I think whatever you do, whether it's a bold choice or it's just a choice that works for you, you have to really feel comfortable with it. Exactly like you've just said, it has to sit with your core values. It has to align with you. I just want more women in business. I want more women out there smashing it, going, look at what I can do. It's half term while we're recording this, and I've got my 3 children with me at home, and everything is possible. It's just finding a way to make it work and to make it fit flexibly in your life.
I think it is important to have that investment in terms of when people have got sort of that skin in the game, they're more committed and invested in it. But I think franchising is a great way to open up business to a lot more people, because a lot of people do need that support, that initial idea, that, the training, the infrastructure, and they would just never do it by themselves. And that's actually one of the things that I love about it. I'm opening up this opportunity to people that just, they've got everything that it takes within them, but they just need someone to kind of see that and to bring it out, and to just to give them some scaffolding and some structure around it that they can then fly with. And that's I think one of the most rewarding parts of being a franchisor is seeing that, and seeing people come through who then do run with it and do absolutely blossom into these amazing business people. So I think that's one of the really important things around the franchising model, or even licensing to an extent, and what you're doing as well. And I completely agree with what you said. There's always ways to make it work. When you're determined to do something, you will find a way. And I truly believe that.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Helen, so much for joining us today. Please, could you let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes. So if you want to look at what we do at Tots Play, then visit our website, which is totsplay.co.uk. If you are a franchisor or thinking about becoming one, then come and join me over on Instagram at The Happier Franchisor. And I'd love to have you along there. And we've also got a community group on WhatsApp that I'd love you to join in as well. And that's where we have all these lovely chats.
Thank you so much for joining me today. We have touched a little bit on core values. So if it is something that you're interested in discovering and finding out what your core values are, head down to the show notes. You will find all Helen's links there, and you'll also find access to our free core values course, helping you to decide what your core values are and whether business is right for you. Thanks, Helen.
Thanks so much, Rose.
You've just listened to I'm Fine But. If you're unsure about business or what really matters to you right now, why not take our free core values course? It's linked in the show notes, and it's a brilliant place to begin. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and you can follow us online at all your favourite social media platforms at Baby Beats UK. Until next time, I'm Rose, and I'm fine. But honestly, we're all just figuring it out.